You back? Now, the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller has appointed Saki Zamxaka as its new CEO, and the GEP is responsible for giving support to small and medium businesses. So let's speak to the new CEO now on his new role, as well as President Cyril Ramaphosa's call to the Special Investigating Unit to investigate the GEP. Of course, these questions directed to the CEO. Good morning to you, Mr. Zamxaka. We'll get into some of these issues that I highlighted in just a moment. But, I mean, you are new to the job, newly appointed, and we know that with Gauteng being a province that's an economic powerhouse, supporting small business as well as medium enterprises is quite important. What's your strategy?
Good morning, Tumelo. Thanks for the opportunity to have the discussion. As you're saying, I just started, and of course I found a business with a plan that they've presented to Parliament. And I don't think anything can ever be new about what is needed to be done to support small enterprises. But for me, having spent, for example, the past 3 years in capital markets where we've been trying to get businesses to improve their access to capital, it's always interesting to see what the state can do to support. And I think for me, one of the things that's going to be important is to see how we work with the private sector to scale up what exists. The Enterprise Propeller was given 250 million by the province to look at what can be done during the corona times and post-COVID, if there's ever going to be such a period. But for me, really the point there is to see what we can do with willing entities in the private sector to make sure that we deliver a little bit more and focus on some of the underserviced areas in the province. So for me, if there's anything that's going to be really key, and that's been part of the discussions with the shareholder, the Department of Economic Development, and the MEC Parkstyle. So we have a shareholder that understands what needs to be done, the agency, but for me as well, most importantly, what the state can do more than just the money to enable businesses to do what they need to do.
Right. And as mentioned before, I mean, Mrs. Zamxaka, equally as you try and bring around this strategy to assist small businesses, particularly in a pandemic that has ravaged Gauteng as a province, we've seen those numbers. I mean, you're equally inheriting, some challenges here. When we talk about some of the investigations with which the SIU is probing, we're talking about the 2017 Township Entrepreneur Awards tender. We're talking about the project management, sort of services for the I think, Pitching Booster Initiative in Sidibeng back in 2018. These are some of the challenges that you're faced with. What do you make of these investigations?
Well, Tumelo, two things for me. The first one, as you say, I found these things having been proclaimed already, so there isn't really much to have a view on. And secondly, they're already in the hands of the SIU, so the SIU must do its job and give us a report. And we will be updated by them. So really at this stage, I can't really say much except that the investigations have been proclaimed. So the SIU will be the one then that advises us on what to communicate and where the progress is. Yeah. But really for me, the big task ahead is how we support these SMEs. It's how we then bring back confidence that what we're doing is above board. And we're transparent and as efficient as possible. So I think that's going to be our real task, and the investigations will continue. It's state entities that are pursuing these investigations, and I believe they have capacity to do it. So all will get similar to everyone else, is just update on what is going on.
And with that being said, in the spirit, I suppose, of building a relationship with small businesses in Gauteng, but also ensuring that, businesses do find confidence in the GEP, the public finds confidence in the transparency of the GEP, would there be, or rather should I ask, are you considering internal investigations just to ensure that the organization is in good rapport, there is no corruption, or even if there is a slightest, possibility of corruption, you would deal with it before it even happens?
Well, from what I understand, in the meetings I've had with some of the colleagues, there's quite a number of investigations that have happened. even some of these proclamations are as a result of those investigations. The Auditor General has also dived a little bit deep into what is going on. So I think really what's going to be important for us is to implement improvements in our internal controls to make sure these things don't recur, and where action is required, move on it as quickly as possible so that we don't prejudice neither the people involved nor the organization. So if, of course, there's anything that requires investigation, we'll do it. But I think the immediate one is to conclude the investigations that are going on. I think the different entities, as I'm saying, like the AG and some of the internal audit are the ones that have also raised internally in the business some of these things. But I think what for us is going to be important is to demonstrate how we've concluded these investigations and what action has been taken so that everybody can then get confidence that not only are we acting, but we're improving in the way we're doing things. So I think the focus really for us and where we must be able to bring back confidence is to demonstrate that we can justify who got money and who didn't get money.
Right.
And we are delivering on our mandate of doing small business enterprise development in the province.
All right. Well, sir, thank you so much for your time this morning. Newly appointed Gauteng Enterprise Propeller CEO, Mr. Saki Zamxaka. We'll leave it